The Howard Stern Show.
Did you like working with Howard Cosell?
It was all over the map. I loved it at first, and then he became a real crotch.
Right.
And for the last couple of years, it was tough, and I detail that in the book. And by the end of the day, it was, he was tired of everything, and we were all tired of him. And he'd show up at a game, and we're all excited to do the game, and he would put a damper on it.
Did you admire him though because of the longevity of his career? And people did. I mean, they hated him, they loved him, but my theory on him was they loved him. I mean, people wanted to hear Howard Cosell.
All over the map, Howard. It was all over the map.
But he was a misery personally, you say?
He became that way.
Full of himself?
In a way, yes, but in a very funny sort of way. I mean, he would say the most outrageous things, and he didn't care. And plus, I mean, he had the toupee, he had the cigar going. And how about a guy? Remember, we used to wear those ridiculous yellow blazers, those canary yellow
turtleneck.
And then Howard on the road, and we didn't have any wardrobe people, so you would bring that cockamamie thing with you on the road. And Howard would sit in hotel lobbies with the cigar going, and in restaurants with the yellow blazer on.
You are kidding me.
No, and then he would tell...
Was he that insecure that he thought no one would notice him, or he needed attention that much?
He couldn't stand a lot of his colleagues. So Jim McKay, who was put into the seat in Munich at the massacre and won an Emmy for it and was fantastic. Howard always hated the fact that he was not the anointed one to do a big news story. McKay was. So he'd always denigrate McKay, the diminutive one, whatever the hell it was. So at the Kentucky Derby one year, here's Howard sitting in the lobby, yellow blazer, cigar, and of course people see him and they're around him, and McKay's checking in, and McKay's walking by, and Howard says to McKay, Jimmy, they won't leave me alone. There's no place I can go to be alone. And McKay walks by and says, Howard, did you ever think about your room?
Yeah, they might leave alone there. And how about taking off that yellow blazer?
Right, how about,
Oh
or
the
the toupee or something.
What a character. Did you ever see him without his toupee?
Yes, I did.
How did that
Frightening.
happen? What, really?
He was we were in Kansas City one night, and he needed some information that I had, and he knocked on my door, and there he was, and I went, I was going to call security. I didn't know who the hell it was.
Was it Halloween?
Yeah, right.
Do you make a reference to it? Do you say, hey, Mr. Cosell, or whatever you call Howard, hey, Howard, what's with that?
Where's your hair?
No, I was so stunned, I just handed him the sheet. And by the way, that was a night, there were like 3 school teachers from Arkansas walking down the hall, and Howard, hello, ladies, that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, they're going to go back and call their husbands in Little Rock. We just saw Howard Cosell without his toupee in the hall. Sure.
Was he a ladies' man? Was he the kind of guy? No, he was not.
No, he was very dedicated to his wife.
He was.
Oh, yeah, his wife was named Emmy. Think about that.
In that respect, you liked him because I know you're dedicated to your wife.
Of course,
Yeah.
he was a real character.
I still can't believe you point out in the book you met your wife
10th grade.
10th grade. Unbelievable.
Insane.
That's insane. I mean, you never got to live it up, so to speak.
Well, but I've lived it up with my wife.
Yeah, I understand that. You know what I mean. But I've asked you this before, but come on, there's got to be fantasies that, like, well, what if I had waited to be single for a while? I'm famous. I had a lot of money.
Maybe he would have lost this wonderful woman.
Yeah, I mean,
Howard, not.
That's a tough one.
Sort of, kind of, maybe. You know.
So your wife's the only one you've ever been with.
That's it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a beauty to that.
You are one of a kind.
Tell me about it.
I tell you.
Lest anybody think this is a farcical marriage, it is not.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Get back to Howard Cosell for a second, though. The great story you tell in the book, and it is great.
Yeah.
You're traveling around with Howard Cosell in a limousine.
Yeah, in Kansas City.
Right, and you see out the window 2 teenagers are fighting in the street.
Yes, surrounded by about 6 or 7 other teenagers.
Cosell says, stop the car.
No, what we had come to, it's a long white limousine driven by a middle-aged woman who would always drive the ABC personnel in Kansas City. And we had been to the Savoy Grill in Kansas City, and Howard, had 4 or 5 vodkas before dinner, and I say in the book, an aquarium's worth during dinner. So, but he held it very well. Okay. So we're at a red light, and then all of a sudden, Howard sees this confrontation and gets out of the car. And Peggy's screaming from the front, looking in the rearview, oh, Mr. Cosell. And I'm trying to grab him. I've got an 11-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. Now, what am I going to do? No cell phones. You can't call a cop.
Right.
So next thing you know, he's out onto the sidewalk.
And you have no idea what he's up to.
Well, no, I know he's going over there, but I'm thinking, now what? Do I tell Peggy to drive away? What am I? I'm not going to go fight these guys.
Right.
I mean, if he's going to get killed, he's going to get killed.
Right.
So I'll be a partial witness. So only the way Cosell, and now he's got the yellow blazer, he's got the
Oh,
toupee.
my God.
No, Howard, he's got the cigar going.
Yeah.
He goes to and all of a sudden the fight stops, and 7 kids are looking at him, and it's like this is the moment of truth.
But you describe in the book he starts to call the fight.
He does. What he does is he gets out there, and the minute they stop and look at him, he goes, okay. Now, listen up. To this trained observer, the young southpaw does not have a jab requisite for the continuation of this fray. And furthermore, his opponent is a man of inferior and diminishing skills.
What a nutmeg.
This confrontation is halted post-haste. So now this is the full moment of truth. This is, do they recognize him?
And you're sitting in the car, right?
Or do they kill him? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm still in the car, obviously, with the window now up and ready to tell Peggy, get the hell out of here. And then finally one of the kids goes, Howard Cosell. And they start dancing around him like he's a maypole. A pen gets produced. He signs some autographs. He pats him on the head and gets back into the car.
He stopped the fight, in a sense.
He stopped the fight, and they signs autographs. We get back into the limousine, and Peggy can't wait to take off now. But it's so surreal. It's like, wow, did this really happen?
Wow.
Or are we dreaming this? And Peggy drives about a block and looks in the rearview mirror and says, excuse me, Mr. Cosell, I have been driving for 25, 30 years. I thought I'd seen everything. I've never seen anything like that. And Howard's leaning back, and he's very self-satisfied. He's got the cigar going, and he goes, Pegaroo, just remember one thing. I know who I am.
Wow.
What amazing. And you're probably like, what kind of fucking business am I in?
Yeah, right.
People are nuts.
Well, he was a little